Saturday you were pretty pleased with the way that the team played. After watching film, do you still feel that way?
Yeah, I'm glad we won the game. I mean, there's still some things that we need to get corrected. The turnovers, getting hit with the ball on the punt, when we're yelling for it, the Peter call just to get away from it. I didn't think we were real physical on defense, to be honest with you, but I thought we did think it was well enough to win that ball game. But I thought our offense played pretty well. But there's still a lot of things in that game that we need to go back and correct and fix those mistakes. And I still think there's times that we can play a little bit harder and a little bit more physical.
Why did the running game work so well Saturday compared to prior years?
I think just our guys, just their attitude. We really focused on that all week and how important it was to be able to establish a run game because we've been waiting for it for about 3 or 4 weeks now to really establish that run game. But I think just the emphasis that we put on it and, talking with the guys and just I think just their mentality going into the game, of stressing it that week of this is what we expect and this is what we want to get done. And, just some of the things that they were doing, defensively too, which kind of helped us out too. And our backs really seeing the hole. And, just Shane Watts having a great day as well.
It seemed like they were more patient in letting the holes or whatever develop Saturday maybe compared to any game prior.
Yeah, it was a little different with Southern, just the way they're kind of their linebackers were. Most linebackers plug and fill, once they see the double team and get to the play where they were kind of sat back a little bit more and we're a little bit more patient as linebackers, and that kind of helps a little bit, to kind of establish that run game and get to the second level. So, I think that helped us a little bit, but I think our O-line did a great job of really setting the front, and again getting movement on the front four, and then working up to the linebackers, which allowed our running backs to find those holes and find those gaps.
You mentioned the mistakes on Saturday. It seems like a fair amount of them were more mental mistakes than they were physical mistakes.
Yeah, they are. Just sometimes you got to think about the situation and the opportunities. Like in Jack's situation, there's a chance to put points on the board still there with the field goal if we don't get the touchdown. One of the big pass plays they got was just a mental breakdown by our safety and our bandit not doing their job and doing their assignment and just a bust. The muff punt, I guess you just call it muff punt. I don't know what you even call that play, but bouncing off your leg. You hear the Peter call, you just need to run away and get to the sideline where we kind of jogged, and hit our leg, even though it's a hard situation and not knowing exactly where the ball is. It's a tough situation to be in. And just a few little things like that. But, yeah, we got to get, more locked in and be more mentally engaged, in these football games. And again, physicality, I just think our physicality wasn't quite where I want it to be yet because there's opportunities in that games where we had chances to get some big hits and we didn't take them.
Interception in the end zone, then the punt, that was the turnover. How do you feel they responded to that, turning negative into a positive?
There's still some things, defensively that we got to do. Like on the punt, we got to keep them out of the end zone, and we didn't. All right, and I think on the interception as well, they drove 80 yards and still scored on that that series, and that's something we can't allow as a defense to happen. And those are situations where we need to relish it and accept what it is and be excited about that opportunity to get on the field and hold the team to 3 points. But, our offense coming back and scoring when they scored, that's huge for us. They did a great job of, keeping us in the ball game and winning that ball game for us.
It seems like Jack continues to progress, but when he makes a mistake, it seems to be a big mistake. Is that the next thing for his progression is that, there's going to be mistakes, but to try to minimize it seems like if something goes wrong, it ends up being extremely wrong.
Yeah, it's just Jack trying to make plays, and trying to make things happen, and just, he's still just a sophomore and trying to understand that where there's just lived to play another down, and because we still, I think it was only second down when we did that. We still had other plays that we could have ran to try to get into the end zone or even kick a field goal. So it's just, learning growing pains, I guess is what you call it. And, he'll get there. He's still trying to figure things out, but I think each week, he gets a little bit better for us. And, I thought he was really good this week except for that one play.
5 games left, you're roughly middle of the season. Is this, and I know the 2 losses aside, is this about where you would hope the team would be? Not talking record-wise, but the product that you're putting on the field?
It is. I'm always, as a coach, you always want to be a little bit farther ahead than what you are. But I understand that we are pretty young and And there's a lot of youth on that field right now playing games for us, and a lot of guys that don't have a lot of playing experience. But I think they've come a long way, in a short amount of time. And we just need to take another step this week and get better this week. And hopefully these freshmen turn into sophomores now on the playing field, or maybe even the sophomores turn into juniors. So, but I'm pleased with it. Not ecstatic and really happy, but I'm pleased with where we're at and how we've played. But there's still a lot of things that I think we can do a lot better.
Looking ahead to this week, what are you seeing on film that will be challenging for you?
Just every game they've changed up a little bit offensively and defensively. They give you tons of different looks. They bring a lot of pressure, defensively as well, except the coverage is pretty good. Last week against Central, they changed completely what they did with who they were putting, at defensive line. And, the week before that, it was somebody else. They're using smaller guys, against Central, which, with them being so open and spread and throwing the ball around, trying to get some pressure on the quarterback. And then offensively, TJ Davis himself, he's a tremendous football player. He's a great athlete. He's got some great weapons around him. The offensive line does a great job of protecting them. And, we got to find a way to try to keep him in the pocket and make him throw the ball and not let him scramble and get those big yards that he usually does. And they're starting to run the option game a little bit again, so that's something that we have to prepare for, because you don't see a lot of that, with any team in our league, except for, maybe quarterback runs here and there. So, they are a good football team, and they're just kind of putting things together. They got a new coach, and you can start to see things start to click for them right now.
Are they the only team that pretty much runs that option game a lot of the time?
Yeah, and then they haven't done as much as they have in the past. With Coach Held being there now, it's changed a little bit, and he throws TJ throws the ball a little bit more now than he did in the past, and but he does a good job doing that as well, and he buys himself time, and he's became a better passer, and you can tell he's worked on that through the off season. So we just got to do a good job of keeping him in the pocket, keeping him contained, and not letting him scramble and run around.
Is that one of the harder things defensively this week, especially, is not being over-aggressive on defense? Because if you let TJ Davis loose, he'll hurt you.
Yeah, it is, and then you just got to be disciplined in your pass rush. When we're blitzing, you got to be disciplined in your blitz and making sure you're keeping him in that pocket, not letting him scramble to get outside. And if you're in man coverage, you got to stay locked and loaded, and then that's kind of where, if he scrambles, that's where it hurts you, because you're man coverage and he's out in the open on his own. So we just got to be disciplined, keep him in the pocket, do our job, do our assignment, put some pressure on him, and just keep him contained. If we can keep him contained and in that little hole, we got a great opportunity.
You have, obviously, Pitt State, a lot of not natural rivals. Kearney's in that mix. How much do you battle them for recruiting and the importance of this game in that regard?
More in Kearney, in the Nebraska area, we battle them. Out in Colorado, we'll battle with them a little bit, a little bit here in Kansas as well. So that's kind of the realm of our battle with them in the recruiting process. So, we still want to get some kids out of Nebraska. We still want to get kids out of Colorado, and we want to make sure they don't get those kids out of northern Kansas that we're trying to get on. So, it's a big game for us, and we need to win this ball game and keep taking strides and keep moving forward, just to keep these wins coming along. And that's going to take work on our part, but it's huge for recruiting too, no matter who we're playing, because it seems like every team in our conference is recruiting the same kid most of the time. So, every win counts.
Now having back-to-back wins for the first time in a while, did you notice something with similarities in the 2 weeks in the way that the kids got ready?
Just practice and preparation and their film study, and I still think it needs to get better. I think our practices still need to be a little bit more intense. I still think they can prepare a little bit more than what they do. I still think, there's some things that they can do individually to make this team better, and it's maybe a little few things here after practice on their own, working on some techniques and fundamental things. But I do see it getting better each week. The last 2 weeks we've had pretty good practices, and this week I expect even better practices. So we're going to push them pretty hard this week and see what these young men got.